What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we need to take a look at Kup. We need to take another look at Sergeant Kup from Wave 1, who's basically been a bit of a meme since Wave 1. The vanilla character, stats are fine, not particularly great. It was one of the worst characters, but everybody loved Sergeant Kup, and it became a bit of a thing around the game. And we've all been trying to make Kup work and trying to love a bit of the old Kup. And the thing is, when we saw stratagem cards being revealed, lots of people were, well, jokingly or otherwise, saying that they wanted a stratagem for Sergeant Kup. Well, great news. You see, the lovely Drew Nolosco, he who is the brand manager of the Transformers TCG, went and dropped Who's Next yesterday. When your Sergeant Kup Veteran Sergeant is upgraded with a weapon, an armor, and a utility, and he does enough attack damage to KO a defender, untap him. Oh yes, this one looks fun. Now, stratagem cards, I did do a video explaining them, but for those who may have forgotten, they are cards that are basically off to the side at the beginning of the game. They're not one of your characters, they're not in your battle deck, they're off to the side. And they affect certain things. This is a card which is there to show off Sergeant Kup. And it shamelessly helps Sergeant Kup. And the thing is, and this is the thing that jumps out to me right away, there's nothing saying discard this, or what they generally are nowadays, flip it over. As a side note, the other side of stratagems, it's been confirmed, are just the unobstructed art. So the other side of this is going to be a thing of absolute beauty. And essentially, you can do this over and over again. So when your Sergeant Kup Veteran Sergeant has a weapon and armor and a utility, and does enough attack damage to KO a defender, you untap him. But then if you do it again, you untap him. I mean, if it is the end of your turn, then you've just got one fewer tapped character. But if your opponent's characters are all tapped, you might be able to string together a few attacks here. And that's going to be a little bit ridiculous. I love this. All of a sudden, we're being given a reason to play Kup. And when I looked at the Volcanica stratagem the other day, Jurassic Punch, my conclusion basically was, look, it looks awesome, but the reality is, the difficulty we always had with Volcanicus was getting it into play, not necessarily attacking, so even though we love it, the likelihood is we're never really going to end up using it. And I'm still not terribly excited about it. Makes me sad to say that, but it's true. Whereas when I look at Who's Next, I go, well, Kup's a 7 cost, an 8 cost with Who's Next. But all of a sudden, if I'm playing an aggressive deck and I can get a whole bunch of damage rolling, then I'm either getting extra turns or extra attacks here. And this is a bit crazy good. And here's the thing, if we look at the stats of Sergeant Kup here, defense of 3 in ult mode is good, though attack of 3 is meh. Health of 8 is generally not brilliant for a 7 cost. An attack of 3 in ult mode isn't particularly good. But attack of 5 in bot mode is. The average attack for a Wave 1 character was 4, and the average Wave 1 character was an 8 cost. So if you're telling me you're giving me a 7 cost, though it is now an 8 cost with the stratagem, with an attack of 5, then all of a sudden you're getting me a little bit excited. Now, you probably have to go a little bit aggressive here, if I'm honest with you. Because the whole point of this is you need to do enough damage to get a KO. Now, as for the wording, this is future-proofing. When it says enough damage to do a KO, what that means is if there is some other thing that actually KOs them, but you did enough damage to KO them, then that would be alright, this would still activate. It's a way of making sure we're not arguing about technicalities down the line. So now we've got a moderately decent aggressive character, and now there is something about him. Because if Kup had come around in Wave 1 with the exact same stats, but it was an 8 cost, and in bot mode, if it got a KO, you untapped it, we would have looked at Sergeant Kup very, very differently since it was initially revealed. And that's what excites me here. This is what stratagem cards are supposed to do. Stratagems are supposed to make us take cards that we were initially going, and make us go, ooh. And I think that might be what we're doing here with Kup. I think we might be at the stage where we're going, ooh. But as I've said, I think we need to go aggressive. Because if you're not taking KOs, it's not great. But if you are taking KOs, oh yes. And there has been a bit of a trend in the Transformers trading card game lately to play smaller characters. Characters like the Airstrike Patrol. Now, I know they've got stealth while untapped, I get all of that, but they can't all stay untapped forever. And then as soon as they end up either in bot mode or they end up tapped, you're talking about, Tailwind is an 8 health, 1 defense, assuming that you don't flip any green icons. We've seen Arcee seeing a fair amount of play, and Arcee is, let's just say, not the beefiest character ever. I mean, you're talking about a 9 health, 1 defense character. Flame War's seen a huge amount of play, and admittedly, in one mode you do get tough 1, so you flip an extra battle card while defending, that's in bot mode. But outside of that, you got 10 health, 1 defense. So if you can get a whole bunch of bold going on here, if you can build up your attack, you can go absolutely nuts with this. Play down a supercharge to give yourself bold free in a deck where you're already playing a whole bunch of orange icons. Now, there is one other thing we need to mention about Kup that we haven't really dug in on yet, and that is the fact that this stratagem does not say when Kup does enough to get a KO, he untaps. It says when Kup does enough to get a KO and has an armor and a weapon and a utility attached, then you get to untap. And that's a very different thing. So what we're really looking for here, what would be brilliant, is if we could find ourselves a card that counts as a weapon and an armor and a utility, or at the very least counts as 2 of them. And at this stage you should be remembering that rather recently I showed you Crystal of Power. Crystal of Power occupies a weapon and an armor slot. It's a weapon armor. And all of a sudden, this starts looking a whole lot better. Because now, you've got the +3 attack here, which is nice. Now, it does get scrapped after the battle, so you will need to keep putting it back on. But we're now talking 2 upgrades attached rather than 3. And we're talking +3 attack, which is pretty gosh darned awesome. Crystal of Power seems ready-made for Kup, with the new stratagem, of course, and I don't think it's a terrible coincidence that the Sergeant Kup stratagem Who's Next gets revealed very shortly after Crystal of Power. And then what we really need is just, let's get a whole bunch more upgrades on there. Because that's what we really want, right? We want to be playing as many upgrades as we can, as fast as we can, so that we can really start getting this working nicely. We do have new designs that lets you play an upgrade, which is alright. If you're willing to invest another star, we got Leap of Faith that lets you essentially play the top 2 cards of your deck. If you're willing to play a specialist in your deck, you can always go for Multi-Tool. That one has not yet been banned. One of the cards I revealed back in Wave 2 was Megatron, and the Wave 2 Megatron is lovely with this. Wave 2 Megatron, when you flip it into alt mode, you get to play an upgrade, which is pretty good. In bot mode, you get to scrap an upgrade when you attack and draw 2 cards. That just gives you a little bit of extra draw power. And that's a 10 cost, and the 2 of these together would be 18, giving you 7 stars left over for something else. And if you want to go full Kup, you need to be thinking upgrades here. Something like Private Sidetrack that's got a tap skill letting you scrap an orange icon card from your hand, to then scrap the top 4 cards of your deck and putting all upgrade scrap from the deck this way into your hand. That would work quite nicely. It's Treasure Hunt as a tap skill, but it doesn't take your action card for the turn, so I'm kind of alright with this. This seems pretty good to me. And it's about attaching extra upgrades. It's about searching out your upgrades. That's what we need to try and do here. That's the goal. And if we can do that, this can work. If you don't have one of each of the 3 upgrades on, it's not going to go brilliantly. It's not going to be awesome. But if you do, this could be brilliant. Untapping is good. Untapping is very good. It's just always been a bit too awkward in the past. I mean, one of my favourite characters is Autobot Mirage from back in Wave 1. I adore Wave 1 Mirage. But the fact of the matter is, in order to untap with Mirage, you need to flip 3 white icons. Which means you need to be playing a whole heap of white icons, which means you're not playing enough orange icons and you're not attacking for enough damage, and actually, no. But this looks like it might be a whole lot better. I'm a little bit genuinely excited about Kup. I think this could maybe take Kup and turn it from a bit of a joke, let's make it work because it's Kup. I mean, there's one store that literally runs a Kup, where you win a cup made out of Kup, but your deck must include Kup. And turn it into a legitimately good card that could be at the centre of some legitimately good decks. And I think we can all be pretty thankful for that. But I'd like to know what you think, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to know your opinion, so let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, and follow me on Twitter at the Wossy, where we talk Transformers and a whole bunch of other stuff. And please consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wossy Plays.